Gray. At the tone, leave your name and message, and I'll get back to you.
Thoughts and opinions expressed by Gray Matter are not necessarily endorsed by WPRK or Rollins College.
And Amy, what do you think about Dana butting into your business?
I think she needs to get a life of her own.
Baby, I got a life of her own.
You don't have a life of your own. I got a life of my own. You don't need it.
This is your chance. I'm here. I can take you out of here. I can lead you into that kingdom level above human. That can't happen unless you leave the human world that you're in and come and follow me. Time is short. Last chance.
One man, one microphone, one listener. You are listening to Gray Matter on 91.5 WPRK, Rollins College.
Hey, that's right. This is Gray Matter. I am James Gray. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Of course, say it with me, to WPRK! Winter Park, Florida. That's 91.5 on your FM dial. Streaming live 24/7 worldwide on WPRK.org and the TuneIn app. I have a very, very special show for you today. We're going to detour a little bit. We're going to veer away from what I normally do with the new wave and the classic alternative. We're going to kind of go in a different direction today because I have a very special guest here with me today. And I won't tell you who it is yet. It's a surprise. But I will tell you this. If you think about the pantheon of local music gods, and he's in there. And I have one of those gods here with me today. We're going to do a little music. Then we'll come back and we'll talk with my special guest, Marc, with a C. Of course, if you have any requests today, please do give me a call. 407-646-2915. That's the number here in the studio. You can also hit me up on the Gray Matter Facebook page. It is the suppository of all things Gray Matter. That is WPRK Gray Matter on Facebook.com. You can make requests through there. And if you'd like to check out the playlist, of course, you can go to spinatron.com, search for WPRK, and you'll see the playlist as I update it live. Let's get into the first track today. And when we come back, we'll have Marc with a C. We'll talk about his new album and other things. We're going to start the day off with a little Nautilus Pompilius. It's Gray Matter on WPRK. Okay, so let's do something. This is something experimental here. And then we'll check out a track from your new album, which, of course, is called Unicorns Get More Bacon. Now, when will your new album be coming out?
It's officially out on March 8th, though if you pre-order it from markwithac.com, when I'm awake, I will ship you a copy immediately, and you'll get a download immediately. So that's the only way to get it in your hands absolutely now.
Gotcha. Okay, sounds good. So we'll play a track. Let's see. What's the one called that we're going to play? Ethics in Gaming, but this is the kind of like cleaned up track, right?
Yes, there were dirty words, but we've turned them backwards for your ears, dear listeners.
Well, let me ask you about that real quick before we get into this thing. How do you feel about doing that, about having to edit tracks for like clean airplay?
I don't care.
You know, it doesn't matter to you?
It's just 12 notes.
Right.
I use backwards stuff in my songs all the time to, place thoughts into the minds of weaker folks who might receive what I do. So now it's just wearing it on the sleeve. Now you know to dig. But no, I don't care. You know, if someone wants to remix it, make the whole song backwards, like all those Nine Inch Nails EPs that we all wasted money on in the 90s. $17 for this import, where really it's just closer, slowed down 400%. No, I don't care. It's all art. I would prefer, like, if somebody asked me to sing it live, that they didn't ask me to reverse the track because I don't know how to sing backwards.
Sure.
But I don't really care. It means that we can play it for you.
Excellent. So let's try this. Let's do some rapid fire kind of association type things.
That's dangerous.
I will say a phrase or a word, and you just say the first thing that comes to mind. Edit yourself only so far as you have to for FCC regulations.
Okay.
Colonel Sanders.
Delicious Bernie Sanders.
Barry Sanders.
Delicious Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Sanders.
Colonel Sanders, but delicious.
Bernie Mac.
You got what I need, but you say he's just a friend.
Mac and cheese.
Comfort.
Mac and me.
Comfort, but now I want McDonald's.
Macklemore.
I don't think about that.
Mo Better Blues.
I've never thought of that.
Blues Magoos.
We don't talk about that.
Mr. Magoo.
Kinship.
Was 9/11 an inside job?
Robbie Road Steamer.
I knew a band, they were almost
Yes, excellent. I haven't had this much fun in ages. What did you say your name was?
You're listening to Forrest Whitaker's Left Eye of Radio, James Gray.
Hey, that's right. I am James Gray. You're tuned in to Gray Matter. Thank you so much for checking out the show today. A special show, of course. We just heard music from Suneo Imahori. That was from the Trigun. Second Donuts, Happy Pack. That was Hash Hash. Before that, new music from Jerkagram with Anteater. And we heard Ween with Big Jilm. That was from their Live in Chicago DVD/album. And of course, Marc with a C with Ethics in Gaming off his new album, Unicorns Get More Bacon. Marc with a C is here in the studio with me today.
James tells a lie. This is all pre-recorded.
Well, I do appreciate you being here, whether live or Memorex. And I would like to hear a little bit about this new album. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. And everybody should be honest with everybody at all times, but I'm going to be honest with you now. I had heard your name before, I think going as far back as like MySpace. You were active on MySpace, I believe, right, at some point?
Sure. Define active.
You had a social media presence on MySpace.
There was, yes.
Okay. And I'd heard the name, and I knew that you were a local guy, but I never really checked out any of the music until recently when you were gonna you contacted me and we set up this kind of show interview thing here, and I started checking out some of the music, and I was like, this stuff, and I've heard of course some of the stuff being played on Anything and Everything Above Ground and Underground with Captain Chris and Rose McGiggles here on WPRK, and I was like, this stuff is cool. I should have been listening to this all this time, and better late than never, I suppose. But I'm sorry I hadn't checked it out until recently.
I've been taking it very personally, so I appreciate your apology.
Well, tell me how, because you have a lot of albums out. You've put out a lot of stuff, right?
It's true.
Okay. How is this one? Would you consider it a progression? Is it always a progression when you put something out?
Some would disagree that it's always a progression because it seems that the better produced the albums become is in direct proportion to how many penis jokes are on the record.
Right.
So it's a progression and a regression at the same time. Yes. I think that my last two are the best that I've ever done, and I believe that people that really like my second record would hate it.
Okay, I gotcha. So it's maybe not for every fan, but certainly for every music fan. Like, where's the Venn diagram here?
Oh, I have no idea. I make the music that I think is good, and then it's up to the world to decide what to do with it. I can't think past making it. I think in terms of albums. I think about everything in terms of albums, a beginning, an end, a side break. If it's past that, it's not up to me. I'm far too close to it. And sometimes I look back and listen to things that I haven't heard in years and go, that's a really good album. Man, I wish I would have wrote that. And then I find out that I did. I mean, how it all got started was I was at a bar with Ian MacKay. Now, you may know him as Ian MacKay from Minor Threat and Fugazi and the Evens.
Sure.
But actually, it's pronounced Ian MacKay.
Okay.
And we were drinking. You may know him as Straight Edge, but he's not. He really likes PBR, and he likes.
I'd heard that about Ian.
He likes to deep fry sandwiches in beer batter that he calls Pabst Blue Rubens. And he was telling me, listen, man, shows should be $5, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna make the world think that we're straight edge, and someone's got to do that. And he did, and I did the exact opposite. I said, you know what? A lot of the shows can just be free, you greedy jerk. And so I started doing free shows and making music without thinking about the social consciousness of it, and then sometimes thinking about it as a way of course correcting the things that I'd already done wrong. So when somebody called me on it, I could go, no, I wrote this song. How could I possibly be wrong? And really, it's all just kind of stealing Ian MacKay's drunken ramblings and putting them through my own filter. A lot of that's true.
Well, I'll tell you this. When I saw Fugazi in 99 or 2000, they came to Firestone.
Oh, he was wasted.
And that show was $6. And I was bummed. I was severely bummed.
Did you have to spange to get the extra buck?
Well, because that $6 ate into my pre-legal drinking money, right? So we were all slamming Old English quarts in the parking lot in my Caprice Classic. Because that was basically like a living room on wheels. So we were all drinking Old English, slamming it before we went into the show. But that extra $1 cost me at least 3/4 of a quart. That's 3/4 of a quart I could have had to see Fugazi and whoever else they played with. I don't remember.
I'm gonna guess at the time it would have been Shudder to Think that was opening.
Yeah.
But I've been known to be wrong about my music history. That was right around the time that Ian was just wasted all the time, so he was probably slamming Old English as well. Don't believe the hype. He really likes red wine.
Well, let me ask you then about creative impulses and stuff. One thing that struck me as really cool that you said when you were on Anything and Everything several weeks ago is you were talking about some artists that create your album covers. Mm-hmm. And you were saying that you don't really give them any direction. You just let creative people be creative.
Absolutely.
Right? How do you, we talked about the insomnia and the way that you channel that into your music and your creativity. But do you just kind of start off with a conceptual block of marble, and then you whittle it down from there? I guess you wouldn't be whittling so much as you'd be chiseling, but chisel it down from there and craft a song. Because I'm not going to ask you, where do your ideas come from? Because who cares, right? But how do you go about deciding this is the direction it goes or this is the direction it goes?
I write a lot of songs and I don't know what they mean. Or where they fit until the album appears to me. And that's why I emphasize that I think in terms of albums. And once that 35 to 45 minute appears to me hey, we all go together, then I know what it's called. I don't think there's ever been a time where I've announced a record and then changed the name. I know what it is, and then I hand that to someone to visualize, to make a visual component to. One of the few times that didn't happen was on my album Popular Music. I knew exactly what I wanted, but I still left some leeway for that artist, Cat Blackard, to have some fun with it and put his own stamp on it. And recently, the new album, Unicorns Get More Bacon, was inspired by my daughter coming home from school with the drawing that's on the cover, where she had spelled Unicorns Get More Bacon out of the periodic table. And I went, well, this is clearly an album cover. And then I handed that to my buddy Catherine in Catherine spelled with an exclamation point, who lives in Canada, and she does the Robot of Leisure comic, and she's fantastic. And I said, okay, make something out of this. And she said, well, I want to make it look like Lisa Frank threw up on all of this. And I said, so you want to make like a Lisa prank? And we all had a good laugh at my ability to make puns. And but other than that, I didn't tell her what to do. Why should I?
Right.
let her do her thing. I didn't, if I'd told my daughter, for example, hey, make me an album cover, I would have gotten something so different than this. It wouldn't have been eye-catching. Like Captain Beefheart said, the way that you create good art is to never wash your tools. You have to make the tools smell like you, and then you have to get that smell onto the art.
Right. Okay. So this then, like, in terms of guidance, so... you kind of like you just let things happen, and you determine what goes where, as these things come to you. But do you have like a let me ask you this, I guess, if you could put it in visual terms. So if you could describe the landscape that you build with your music and with the sounds and the textures and everything that you play with, like if you could paint it, what would it look like?
The inside of my head, it'd be a lot of folds and electrical impulses and a series of ultimately meaningless things, as, I am basically made up of cells and atoms in a giant universe. First of all, I'm on Earth with 7 billion other people. That's not counting the animals and the bacteria and the microbes. My thoughts are incredibly insignificant, and ultimately none of this matters. The only thing that seems to matter is to have positive force. Though negative force is important to remind you that you need positive force. So I try to stay fun, because there's enough badness when you realize that your life is worthless and meaningless and you are just a cog in the machine. So I mostly try to make the inside of my brain look more fun and give it to you for your ears.
So you entertain yourself first,
mm-hmm.
and then just kind of hope we come along for the ride.
Absolutely. If I don't like it, it does not get past.
That's the best way to go about it. And we'll get into this a little bit more when we come back from the top of the hour break and stuff. But let's do another rapid fire association thing. And we'll see where this one goes. Nightgown.
Tantalizing.
Night Rider.
Tantalizing.
Night Vale.
Overrated.
Riverdale.
Homer Simpson can't go back.
Man, that's quick. 4 Rivers.
Homer Simpson is not real.
2.5 Rivers.
The river is a man.
River Phoenix.
Rivers Cuomo.
Rivers Cuomo.
River Phoenix.
Mario Cuomo.
I like Luigi better.
Is Hollywood racist?
I like Mario better.
When I was 28, I gave birth to my son. When I was 30, I gave birth to my daughter. And when I was 32, I realized that I didn't like children. Every day, I'm confronted by 2 screaming reminders that the life I wanted is now just a fantasy that is too painful to even indulge in. I have to live with these mistakes until I die, or they die. I don't care which happens first. People will tell you that having children changes your outlook on life. Well, they're right. I used to lie awake at night in anticipation of the coming day. Now I go to sleep hoping I don't wake up. Think twice. Children ruin lives.
And if I covered it, hid behind a mask, you could love me for who I was inside, without pity. But a funny thing happened. As I worked in the mask, I found the man inside was changing. He became wrong. A monster. I can live with it now, but I don't think anyone else can. I'm everyone. And no one. Everywhere. Nowhere. Call me
James Gray.
You found a college radio station. Go tell your parents what it feels like to be an adult. You're listening to Gray Matter on 91.5 WPRK.
Yeah, that's right. You are listening to Gray Matter. I am James Gray. Thank you so much for tuning in to WPRK. Winter Park, Florida. That's 91.5 on your FM dial. Streaming live worldwide 24/7 on WPRK.org and the TuneIn app. Download it for free and take us with you wherever you go. Doing something a little bit different with today's Gray Matter. I've got special guest Marc with a C, who's here to talk about a number of things, but especially to promote his new album, Unicorns Get More Bacon, which is definitely something that you should you want, because I can't make a direct call to action. Should you want to pick up the album, you certainly can. We'll give you information about how to do that in just a little bit. But right now, as a special treat, Mr. With a C is going to play the title track from Unicorns Get More Bacon right here, acoustic and live. Take it away, Marc.
Well, hello, it's nice to be here. I've been pacing backstage. That's actually a lie, there is no backstage. Well, I made up these songs, and I chose to play them here. I can only hope you like them. How am I doing so far? You see, my songs are like my kids. I have a whole bunch of them. And some are kind of cool, others are just meh. We used to clap and cheer when people would sing up here. Now sometimes I've gotta do this while you look at your cell phone. They said an artist needs a patron, and unicorns get more bacon, but they cheer the loudest for what I like least. So I thought that it would be fun to get y'all on my side up front. So what I gotta know is, are you with me? Well, it's still good to be here, no matter your response. At this point in my career, I'm surprised there's an audience. And you all look really nice. Have you been working? Oops, I just sang that like a Canadian. What was that, a boot? Now a little about me. I've made records and CDs. I have a wife, a dog, a daughter, and 2 bunnies. Oh, did I mention that I'm happy to be here? Cause that's totally not pandering. Yeah, we're gonna get this started, but first some honesty. They said an artist needs a patron, and unicorns get more bacon, but they cheer the loudest for what I like least. So I thought that it would be fun to get you on my side up front. So what I gotta know is, are you with me? Well, now it's time for the bridge, so here's the bridge. It's a pretty good bridge, don't you think? And now it's time for the third verse, which they say is the most important. I don't subscribe to that theory, but hey, let's try one. I'm out of ideas, so I think you get the point. Thank you for your time, I hope you've enjoyed this. Oh, and an artist needs a patron, and unicorns get more bacon, but they cheer the loudest for what I like least. So I thought that it would be fun to get you on my side up front. So what I gotta know is, are you with me? What I gotta know is, are you with me? So what I gotta know is, are you with me?
Yes.
The sound of one man clapping. I done good for Mr. James.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed that, and I love watching people perform, because you see the energy that you put into it, and I know that visual element doesn't really translate well over the radio, but it's such a cool thing to see somebody perform and to really put the energy into it like that. And I really enjoyed that song. You now have the dubious honor of being the first musician to perform live on Gray Matter.
Oh my, I would have brought myself a bouquet. had I known, instead I will take this cupcake that the mystery man put in front of me. I am not the type that much prefers muffins. I do think that cupcakes are just fine. I know how to eat them properly. So I will take this cupcake as a reward for the dubious honor, as you mentioned, of being the first musician to play on Gray Matter. Would you say that's a good thing or something you'll never repeat again? Can I be the only?
You know what? I would say that this has been such a pleasant experience so far that I will definitely have musicians in again in the future, but I think they have to be at least as talented, at least as energetic, and at least as charming in the face as you are.
I do have a bit of a charming cherubic face.
Yeah, you do. You do. And it's lickable.
And that's good. I shaved. So you have a minimal amount of stubble, so there's something interesting going on, and some aftershave, so you'll have some bitterness to get past, but that just means more foreplay.
Yeah, no, that's okay, because the bitter will offset the sweet.
Yeah, I think that you're really in for a treat with licking my face.
Yeah, you look like you have really sweet skin.
We're gonna have to clear this with my wife.
Oh, this isn't a sexual thing. It's a cannibalistic thing.
Oh yeah, she's probably fine with that.
Okay.
I have too much skin, anyways.
So if the listeners out there were digging what they were hearing, if they were picking up what you were putting down, where can they get your new album?
I would recommend marcwithac.com. There's a lot of music there that you don't even have to open your wallet to acquire. But the new record, you will have to, unfortunately, because it was not free to make. But yeah, marcwithac.com. At the top of the page, there's all these little buttons that will take you to Facebook and Twitter, and you can navigate and stalk me wherever you want to stalk me. If I do it online, I really don't keep it much of a secret. And there's a merch tab where you can get t-shirts with an animated or an illustrated version of my likeness, where you're not sure if I'm raising my arm in victory or I'm flicking off your friend. And that was also designed by Catherine, spelled with an exclamation point. And the new album is the brightly colored Lisa Prank of pink and blue splattered wax that was mastered by Kramer of Shimmy Disc and Bongwater and Butthole Surfers and Shockabilly fame, which I'm very proud about. And if this hasn't been enough, if you're like, you know what, I like that song, but I need a little bit more meat on the bones, you could also go to YouTube and watch the video, which was created by the Emmy-nominated Tim Labonte from Massachusetts. He has a great accent.
So you're all over the place. If people want more Marc with a C, they can find you just about anywhere.
It is you have to make a special effort to ignore me, and so far the world's working hard.
Now, can they find your whole back catalog and everything like that on marcwithac.com as well?
For the most part, there's some things that go out of circulation for a little while, either due to embarrassment or they were of a limited nature.
Right.
I think that there's a lot to be said for music only having a certain lifespan, and people like to feel like they're one of just a few that have something, and I like to be one of them too. So I provide that service to anybody who likes the way that I arrange 12 notes.
So, but that's awesome though, because I think that helps you build a special connection with certain fans where they have something that other fans don't have. And that's a connection then that you have with them, because you're not going to either you're not going to reissue it, or there's only so many or something like that. So I think that kind of one fan at a time, like fan base building, is super important. You know,
it's funny that you bring that up. I actually did a series of records. This is the total truth, called Marc Sings for You, where a listener would tell me 4 songs that they wanted on the record, and then I would pick 4 completely at random. I'd record it live in one take. So if a string broke or what have you, that was their record, and we pressed 1, and we sent it to them, and they were the only person that had that album.
That's fantastic.
Totally true, and it took up a lot of my time, and we had to discontinue it because it took up so much of my time.
Right.
It was profitable, but not as profitable as having some time off would have been. There were days and weeks where that was it. That was all I did, was the Marc Sings For You series. But I'm really big on editions of one, and I know that other people are too, so I wanted to provide that service. It was a great experiment, and I hope to do it again in the future as the world demands less of me.
But that's like a word of mouth like bomb you've placed there, though, because that's one person that you made a special song for, that you put your creative energies into just that one thing for that particular person, and that is a fan for life. And so everybody within the radius of that fan is going to hear about it, right?
You totally get it.
Yeah, that's it. But you have to like strategically place those bombs. Well, when we come back, we're going to hear more live Marc with a C, and we're probably going to give away a copy of the new album as well. Of course, you'll have to work for it, dear listener. We're not just going to give it to you, but we'll let you know what the trivia question is when we come back. For now, how about a little Stephen Malkmus? It's Gray Matter.
In shock and white. Oh, jeez. What's that smell? Oh, it's Gray Matter on 91.5 WPRK.
Hey, that's right. It is Gray Matter. I am James Gray. Thank you so much for tuning in to WPRK today for a special edition of Gray Matter. I have a guest here with me today who has been very, very more than pleasant. It's actually been a joy, Marc.
So, despite what you've heard, you've enjoyed having me on the station. That's really fantastic. I'm glad that the reputation is incorrect. You know, I'm not everybody's favorite ball of sunshine, especially this early in the morning. So, I have to say that you are more pleasant than I'd heard. I mean, I know the whole story with the stewardess and the fare, but we don't talk about that.
No. That's like a court thing.
And I have to say that I can't picture you in those situations, and you've been fantastic. And the massage was really more than I could have asked for, especially because I asked you to stop over and over because you're sick and I don't want to catch it.
Yeah, but I knew that you weren't done. And when I say done,
yeah. Well, now I'm done, and I said, "No, really, can we clear this with my wife?" And you went into this Freddy Krueger voice, "I'm your wife now," and it was great.
That was really enjoyable. That was one of the best things that's happened.
And then he ate a portion of my arm.
And you know, the thing is, we have these cupcakes that we were given, and we've yet to touch these things, but they have whole strawberries on top of them. Do you think the whole thing is strawberry flavored, or is it just strawberry icing?
Based on look, I'm going to say it's going to be sugar flavored and sort of bread, and that the paper around it should not be eaten, but you can.
It looks like type 7 diabetes.
Well, I've been pretty good about my intake of calories and not eating total crap, so I guess much like Tom Waits in Coffee and Cigarettes, since I don't really eat sweets very often, I believe I can have this.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you mentioned earlier that you eat cupcakes the correct way. Now, what is the correct way?
You rip off the bottom half of the cupcake and you put it on top, and you make sort of a frosting sandwich out of it.
A sandwich? Okay, now how is that better than eating it just like that?
Because as soon as you get past the frosting, who wants just, the cake?
I see, so you're like forcing yourself to eat the rest of it.
Yes, there's a reason that when you get a birthday cake, there's layers of frosting in the middle.
Uh-huh. So you eat the cake?
Yeah.
When all you really want is the frosting?
Sure, but there's a little more substance so that you don't gorge yourself on frosting and get type 43 diabetes.
Why don't they just make frosting balls then?
That's a good question. I don't know. I have never personally been employed by Duncan Hines, so the question has not come up. However, I did see that there are pumpkin pie Pringles. They were made for a short period of time, and of course I saw them at Big Lots, so that means they were being discontinued and expired. But I believe that since those have been made, we're not far from frosting balls.
Yeah, no, I think pumpkin pie Pringles.
That's a real thing.
That sounds like the worst. That sounds like the worst thing on the planet. There's like, not everything has to be pumpkin flavored.
I believe that every time you see a flavor like that that there's the sort of slow cousin of the CEO who just needs a job, and they're like, I'll put him in creative, and everybody's got to take him seriously because he's related to the CEO, and he's like, yeah, man, you know what we should totally do is we should, I don't know, spinach Slurpees, and next thing you know, you've got, everybody's into kale, and I think that's how those things happen. Nobody actually sits down to kale for the first time and goes, you know what, I need this on everything.
Right.
But not the kale's bad, it's just, sparingly good.
But do you? I think these flavors kind of catch on, and people are just like, well, let's apply it to this and that. But like everybody is going to buy Pringles. Like if you're a Pringles fan, you're going to be a fan of Pringles, whether they are pumpkin pie flavored or kale flavored or anything like that. Like, why do they always have to like spice things up with new flavors? Like Mountain Dew is always coming out with some new thing, right? But Mountain Dew is like the core product. What are these other things like make them money for maybe like a month or 2 months at a time when everybody's just going to be buying Mountain Dew anyway? I
don't know, but I want to say hats off to the Cheetos folks because they don't mess with the formula. They're just, this is puffed rice with cheese dust.
Yeah.
And
the Flamin' Hot ones are pretty good though.
Yeah, but they ultimately don't deviate much from that formula.
That's
they
true.
go, this is what we've got. Now, Fritos and Doritos, basically everything else in the Toes family, they're like, oh yeah, well we, put grill marks on our Fritos and they've got like cinnamon sugar. No, you want the salty snack. That's why you bought it. If you want candy, there's a whole other aisle dedicated to that, and some of it's crunchy, like Kit Kats.
So they're like they're kind of like the whores of the snack world.
I suppose that is a direct and perfect correlation. That you give them money and they will do whatever you please except make it enjoyable.
Well, let's talk about your album some more. Particularly, let's talk about giving away a copy of your album.
Let's.
Now, you have a very specific trivia question that you want to ask the audience, and the audience has to get this absolutely right in order for them, whoever it is, to win your album. Why don't you go ahead and ask that question now?
Okay, let me preface this by saying if you want to win, the number to call is, if I'm remembering right, 407-646-2915.
Oh yeah.
You could tell I've done this before. You used to do this for the station. But secondly, please wait until we're playing music.
Yes.
Because when we're speaking, if you hear us speaking, the chances of us answering your call are slim to bupkis. So, hold your horses. All right. According to David Byrne, what does the world turn on?
407-646-2915. That's the number to call if you want to win a copy of Marc with a C's new album, Unicorns Get More Bacon. Let's get into the music now while everybody calls in trying to win that album. It's Soul Wax with Crack on Gray Matter.
Also,
You're listening to the fermented half-sour dill of radio, James Gray.
Hey, that's right. I am James Gray. You are listening to Gray Matter. Thank you so much for tuning in today for this special edition. My special guest, Marc with a C, has been entertaining both myself and the listeners for the past 2 hours, and he's going to do it one more time. I do want to say congratulations to Michael Jones.
Who is Mike Jones?
Who won a CD edition, a CD copy of Marc with a C's new album, Unicorns Get More Bacon. Congratulations, Michael Jones, for answering the trivia question, not correctly, but in a way that was pleasing to both Marc and myself. And you can thank Marc for that. You will be receiving that copy of the album very soon in your mailbox.
The correct answer was the world turns on a woman's hips. He answered the world turns on pumpkins, and I can't say that that's a worse lyric. So he won.
So congratulations, Mike, and thank you so much for tuning in. Now, we have time for one more live song, Marc. And what are you going to play for us now?
Why don't you request something? I mean, you're kind of a newcomer to the discography, so I'd like to make you, Mr. James, happy.
Okay. I'm going to go completely D-bag, and I'm going to say play Freebird.
What?
Freebird, man.
You've been playing all this great music. You played Baby Snakes from Frank Zappa's Shake Your Booty and also the Baby Snakes soundtrack, and you're going to go with Freebird.
I'm going with Freebird. I'm going to see if you can do it.
All right. This song's called Freebird. In case you guys ain't heard, well, I'm giving away a bird. I only got the one, but I'm telling you, son, yeah, I'm giving away a bird. Well, I'm sick of cleaning out this cage, and I was tempted to let him fly away. But one man's pain can be another's gain. You can take this bird home today. It's totally free to the nth degree. I just need to breathe. Could you relieve my avian allergies? 'Cause I'm giving away a bird, and a loving home is preferred. You don't have to be rich to fill his birdseed dish. Then you got yourself a bird. Oh. And this bird you'll never change. James, give me 3 steps towards the door. This bird is totally free. That's my decree. So I'll say grazie, grazie. If you'll just relieve my avian allergies. I'm giving away a bird. Oh, I'm giving away a bird. Yeah, it's totally free to take my parakeet. Yeah, I'm giving away a bird. I'm giving away a bird. I'm giving away a bird.
Yes.
That's Freebird.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much, Mark with a C, for coming in today. Now, if people want to pick up your new album or any of your other stuff, tell them one more time where they can go.
I would recommend markwithac.com. That's marcwithac.com. Not just marc.com. I don't know where that takes you. I don't endorse it. I don't know that won't be malware. I don't know that you don't deserve malware, but it's not my call to make. So I can guarantee if you go to marcwithac.com, you will not get malware and the opportunity to acquire my material. It can be cloth or plastic or in some cases adhesives and things that will stick into you.
Right.
But all of those are merchandisable things.
And of course, you have a social media presence as well, right?
I am everywhere and also at marcwithac.com. You can go to the banner and there's a place where you can click to find me on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, which nobody seems to interact with me on Twitter or on Tumblr. I mean, Twitter's fine.
Yeah, Tumblr's a weird thing. Man.
It scares the heck out of me, and I am 3 steps from deleting it. Thanks to Tumblr, I know basically like what my fans' kinks are and what social media account they won't interact with me on.
Absolutely.
That's what I've learned from Tumblr. So yeah, it'll take you everywhere I go except MySpace. I don't really use it anymore, but there's tons of embarrassing journal entries from way back when. If you dig.
Well, let's try one more thing before I wrap things up in classic Gray Matter fashion with the kind of lesson that I've learned here today. But let's try something real quick, a little bit different. Let's make some weird noises at each other.
All right.
Okay. All right, you killed. Fantastic. Let's check out what James has learned today on this edition of Gray Matter. Well, here we are again. Another edition of Gray Matter has come and gone. As always, I've learned so much today. Being with you, dear listener. Spending time with you. Sharing space with you. I've learned that gangrene does not stop at the pinky toe. No, dear listener. It travels up the foot, to the ankle, to the calves, and to the knee. And every time you go to the doctor, they have to shave off a little more of your leg until there's nothing left but a gross, weeping stump. That's what gray matter is, dear listener. It's the gross, weeping stump where your leg used to be. But just remember, leg or no leg, gangrene or no gangrene, gray matter will always be here for you. And keep in mind, dear listener, Daddy loves you. I'll be back next week.
Hey, it's James Gray from Gray Matter. I can see the gray. What the is the matter?